Good morning, friends. I'm so pleased that we found a way for me to join you all this morning and bring the program message for this Recognition Sunday. Before I get started, I do have two announcements. The first is an exciting one, so get ready. Quaker pastor and author Philip Gulley will be leading New Garden Friends Meeting digital meeting for worship at 11 a.m. on May 31st. You are invited to join us for worship that day live on the New Garden Friends Meeting Facebook page, or you can also find the recording of the service on our website, ngfm.org. That Sunday, Margaret will be leading worship digitally for Fairfield Friends Meeting in Indiana, where Philip Gulley is the pastor. My second announcement is just a reminder that, as he has done for the past several weeks, our music director, Mark, has recorded some beautiful music for us this morning. You can find the link for the recording in the comments below. Our reading for this morning is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. I'm reading from the New Revised Standard Version. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by renewing of your minds, so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Friends, it is always an honor to have the opportunity to thank our committed First Day School teachers and volunteers and recognize the hard work and accomplishments of our graduating high school seniors. But this year, and I know I don't need to say this as I come to you pre-recorded from the comfort of my own home, this year's different. And because it's different, I will be doing things differently. For one thing, due to privacy concerns, I will not be sharing the names of our teachers, volunteers, and graduates. For the same reason, I can't be as personal about each of you as individuals as I might like to be. And although I am incredibly grateful for our committed teachers and volunteers for all the dedicated hard work that they do for our community, I thought that this year, more than ever, it would be nice for us to turn much of our focus to our graduates. Our teachers and volunteers will have other years. But our graduates, unfortunately, we know that you will not. And I don't think that there is any way for me to properly recognize you this morning without first telling you this. We see you. We see you missing the last several months of your school year, last days with friends who may be going their separate ways in the fall. We see you missing your proms, senior skip days, graduation, and all the celebrations that come with it. We see you. And I don't just want to recognize you and all of your incredible accomplishments, though we are certainly proud. I don't just want to tell you how loved and supported you are by your community, though you are. I also want to recognize the fact that this is so darn unfair. It's not fair. that you don't get to have a traditional or normal celebration of your accomplishments. It is not fair, and it stinks. That said, I do want to take some time here to speak a bit about normal lives and experiences. I would imagine that most of us have been spending a lot of time thinking about normal life lately. It would be difficult not to when everything around us seems anything but. Truth be told, I've always spent a lot of time thinking about normal life and ways of being. And this is largely because of my faith. Our faith, as friends, calls us to think about these things. Questioning the way we live our lives, the ways that we treat other people and living things, and whether or not we are living into our faith and the Quaker testimonies is an integral part of the Quaker experience. We've got a query for just about everything. And if we don't, we'll make one up. And I've often found that the ways that Spirit calls me to live into my faith, the ways in which I feel led to let my life speak, as George Fox would say, involve doing things that are not generally considered normal. In fact, I'd venture so far as to say that I'm kind of a weirdo, as far as many people are concerned. And I really don't mind that most of the time. There's an exception to this. The exception is when I worry if my eccentricity is negatively impacting my children socially. I don't always fit in with other kids' parents. I know that's a surprise. Our value and belief systems are just not the same, and that's okay. We don't have to be just the same to be friendly. And there are some that I care very much for, and I would even call friends, with a lowercase f. But we're not meeting up at the same women's Bible study group on Wednesday nights. We're not going to the pool together during the summer for drinks. We're certainly not selling weight loss coffee, essential oils, and protein shakes together. And I received my fair share of looks when I showed up to back to school night one year in Birkenstocks and a cute kind of funky dress that I'd bought from the New Garden Friends Mating annual flea market. I think it's beautiful. I understand life and faith differently than they do. And you know, the same appears to be true for my children, especially my eldest, and many of their peers. Just a few weeks ago, my 12-year-old son, Owen, and I were taking a walk, and he said, "Hey, Mom, when do you think the other kids will realize that cool is not really a thing?" Well, I don't know, honey. I don't know. Maybe never. There are a lot of grown-ups that still haven't figured that out. I know I hadn't at his age. And while I am so proud that he is an independent thinker who is unapologetically himself, I do worry. I'm a mom after all. Last week, in Adult Forum, our presenters, also new gardeners, shared and facilitated a discussion about some ways that they and others try to live into the Quaker testimonies. And in that discussion, we also shared about some of the challenges that this can present. So I asked my wise friends, did any of you have this experience while you were raising your children? Gosh, I love new gardeners. The answer, of course, was a resounding yes. Yes, of course. And many shared some really entertaining stories to further illustrate. And while those are not my stories to tell, I will say that they all involved quite a few challenges, a good amount of rebellion, and some pretty intense growing pains. But they all resulted in brilliant, extraordinary adults who are not living normal lives. They are living impactful and meaningful lives. So, why am I telling you all this? What's this got to do with you, our graduates? Well, I guess what I've been trying to say to you here is that even under regular circumstances, even if you'd had your last few months of school and the traditional celebration you all deserved, even then, you never really had a shot at normal. It's not the Quaker way. And whether you were raised a new gardener or you've just been hanging out at Young Friends, I know who you are. I've heard your conversations. I've worked side by side with you in the kitchen stirring taco meat and refried beans for a taco bar fundraiser, for a spring trip that sadly you never got to go on. I've watched you patiently guide and teach some of the older members of our community how to navigate their phones, iPads, and laptops. And I know for a fact that you are not normal. You are exceptional. You're going to change the world. And that is especially exciting right now, at this moment, in the middle of a global pandemic. Because one thing that has become increasingly clear over the past couple of months, if it wasn't already, is that our normal, it isn't normal at all. The past couple of months have forced all of us to slow down. Even those of us who are trying to juggle work, parenting, and homeschooling, even we have been forced into a kind of stillness that we may not have experienced before. And in this place of stillness and deepened sense of what is truly real, we are witnessing the collapse of the once seemingly important structure that we've been made to believe hold our lives together. We see that we've been rushing through our lives fueled by caffeine, junk food, and a wicked fight-or-flight response system. We've been pushing ourselves frantically from one busy moment to the next in the name of productivity. We don't speak to our neighbors. Are either too selfish, too busy, or too broke to help our brothers and sisters who are living in poverty or suffering injustice. And for all our work and busyness, many of us cannot even afford to go to the doctor if we become ill. And what's worse is that we send our children to school 7 or 8 hours a day so that they can learn how to do the same thing. Because that is just what people do. That's the dream. That's normal. I don't think it has to be. And scary and overwhelming though it may be, our graduating seniors are entering into the real world during a time of such transition and upheaval that you guys just may actually have the opportunity to make some real lasting impact. Our reading this morning tells us, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds, so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Well, this is your chance. You get to be the dreamers. You get to be the creators of what will someday be our new normal. So be brave, you big weirdos. We believe in you. And we are just so proud of you.